Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today I have a cold. Or I took my flu shot. I don't know why I'm sick. I hope it's nothing worse. But you get my sexy voice as a result. Today we have Doctor Strange, the 2016 Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. Um, let's see, it's an hour and 56 minutes long. It stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Rachel McAdams, Mads Mikkelsen, Tilda Swinton, and Chiwetel Ejiofor. I can never pronounce your name. Sorry, Chiwetel Ejiofor, who plays Baron Mordo. I'll just call him Mordo. Um, he eventually becomes Baron. I don't know. He's a Baron of something, but Mordo. But yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange. This is a movie that's for some fans really, obviously really loved it. Some less so. I'm not really sure why. I think some people are kind of absolute purists, and they expected it to look like Steve Ditko artwork the entire time. And but yeah, I have to understand those people pretty much um, live with their own head canon, and it's nothing other than what's in their head will matter. Some just have problems with the MCU as a whole because, hey, we got. They seem to think that Marvel has a formula, and they just repeat it over and over again. And to a certain degree, that is true, but they're using what they know works. The similarities to Iron Man are given because both beyond the facial hair choice, they are both arrogant men. Tony and Stephen are both arrogant men at the start, and who think pretty much only of themselves and don't really care about the rest of society except what they can benefit from. And yeah, and then they're humbled. What they prize most is taken from them, and from that they build themselves up to being something more than they once were. And in both cases, their arrogance isn't completely taken away, even though when they become a hero, but it's also dealt with in a humorous manner. It's self-reflective. Uh, they know they're arrogant, and they just sort of play off of it. They lean into it, let's just say, rather than being completely self-aware of who they are. Being a-holes from the beginning. Now they know they're a-holes, and they're good with that, and they temper it to a degree. But yeah, this enough reflection and comparison. But yes, when it comes to the Marvel method, yes, it's everything's meant to fit together in a certain way. That's why the formula tends to work, and why the formula, into a certain degree, has to stay in place. Each of these films are written or co-written by their director, Scott Derrickson, in this case, and yeah, but they're also required to stay within certain parameters, which is unfortunately why Scott Derrickson isn't really going to be around for Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness, which I think he was going to lean more into a real horror angle to it, which would have been awesome. I hope whoever takes the reins, I can't remember if anybody has been chosen yet, that they are given some leeway. I have a feeling that a lot of these things are directed by committee in some cases, at least edited by committee. But but that's, again, when you're dealing with a humongous entity that has to connect completely. That's just the way it is. But that doesn't make this any less entertaining. I really enjoyed this film. There's lots of just little tiny humorous parts, and yes, people do also complain about the deflating of the dramatic moment with silly humor, or I guess self-reflective humor, or things like that just sort of take away from the grandeur. But I think one of the things that makes the Marvel movies work, where in the DC movies in the past, nothing against the DC movies, they're their own thing, but Marvel recognizes the ridiculousness of these situations, and the characters do as well. And that's why it's almost a commentary on the complete insanity of the world that they're living in, because they are normal people, and they can either just freak out and curl up into a ball when they see everything that's going on, or they face it by cracking a joke. And while that might not be completely realistic for many people, I know that's how I react when I'm super frightened or scared about something like health problems, I'll make a joke about it. So, yeah, that's happened plenty of times in the past. But the idea is that, yeah, the humor pays off in the sense that it's more entertaining. And that's what the movie's supposed to be, entertaining. So if you're seeing an action sequence with a lot of humor, hey, guess what? They're doing something right. And especially if you laugh, especially if you're enjoying the action. It's how it's made. So anyway, Doctor Strange, with this film, it allows, this was still in the era of 3D in theaters, you know. It was great to look at it 3D, you know, but it's no less thrilling to see on TV or a computer screen. When the world just folds in on itself and you make this weird Mobius strip of streets and buildings in New York City, in the huge battle sequences from the beginning and also toward the end, the second act. But yeah, it's mesmerizing to see. Also, Stephen's first introduction to the multiverse, the concept of the multiverse, and all the weirdness that's out there. It's very Steve Ditko has very Jack Kirby looking stuff that's peppered throughout. So yeah, it's some astoundingly also colorful visuals that we haven't seen at least to this point in any Marvel film. It's truly mind trippy. I can't imagine somebody doing drugs and watching this movie. They'd lose their mind, especially like LSD or something, you know. It'd be kind of crazy. But the visuals are just top notch and just gorgeous to look at. And yeah, this is only 4 years old, but they age well, and they don't. I mean, yeah, they're obviously CGI, but they still looks great. Just the movement of the ground and the background and everything else is just astounding. And it's perfectly cast. Everybody's just amazing in this. It's Mads Mikkelsen always plays a great bad guy, and he's a tempered, not crazy bad guy, but he's crazy in the sense he's a zealot. And when a zealot is even keel and when they're calm and steady, that's when they're all the scarier. And Mads Mikkelsen does that well. If you saw Hannibal, and then you know, and we get another again. Well, I was talking about how these all connect. We end up with another piece to the Infinity Stone puzzle because Doctor Strange has the time gem. So yeah, it's between this and Ant-Man, even though they're not the major core films like, you know, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, and then the Avengers films. These are ancillary films that are meant to fill in the spaces and actually create some of the foundations of what led up to the Infinity War and Endgame. And well, between this and Ant-Man, those two were incredibly important. Besides introducing a new hero, new villains, new settings, everything else, it had the burden of saying, hey, these movies are essential because you're getting some pieces of the story that you were not getting in the main films. If you were a big fan of Iron Man and Captain America and Thor and saw the Avengers films, you were like, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, who are these guys? Their stories are essential because if it wasn't for Doctor Strange, if it wasn't for Ant-Man, and how they connect to each other, not just the other films, and they would have lost against Thanos. That's the real deal. This is an essential film in the MCU, so it's kind of great, and it's going to be even more so in the next film, in the sequel. So yes, the after credits sort of tease Mordo's intentions, but what they're going to do with that, I have no idea. That's whether that's going to be part of the Multiverse of Madness, or if it's going to be something else, maybe in the third film. Imagine the third film should be called Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme, because he ain't the Sorcerer Supreme yet at the end of this film. Was he called the Sorcerer Supreme in the Avengers movies? I can't remember. I don't know if he was or not. I don't know. I might have to rewatch this. Maybe this will choose it for me. But yeah, for me, this is great fun, and just seeing the bits of humor peppered throughout, and dealing with his arrogance and cutting him down to size. And for me, Tilda Swinton just absolutely kicks ass in this thing. She's just looks amazing as like a kung fu magic monk, you know. I mean, sure, yes, the ancient one was an old man in the original, but it doesn't mean that Tilda Swinton they changed the gender. Oh no, come on, have some fun with this. Jeez. So yeah, I think she was a great choice for this. Doctor Strange. If you're watching the MCU movies for some reason you skip this one, you're missing out. And obviously, if you've seen it already, you probably agree with me that you love it. If you don't, I can't imagine why. But you can tell me one way or the other in the comments if you felt like it. But that's for another time, I'm sure. I'm sure you're just thinking about what you need to say about this movie right now. But until then, let's pick tomorrow's Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. Oh, my voice is so sexy. 699. 699. What could that be? That is toward the end. That's in the final 33 of our Disney Plus. 699. Come on. Oh. Well, it looks like a short. Oh, wow. This might be one of the oldest things we have on Disney Plus. It's a little short. Three Little Pigs from 1933. From 1933. Woo. We'll have to watch that. I mean, I can't imagine it's very long. But let's check it out. The Three Little Pigs from 1933 on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow. We'll talk about it. All right. Bye-bye.